Today, we're starting a logging company in a new part of the world. Welcome to a new video on the Create world, and today we're expanding the world to get some more wood production going. Before we do that, I am going to need some way to travel back and forward, and I think a nice railroad might fix that for us. The track machines have been running for a while, so I should have enough track to reach to the spot that I want to get to. And after crossing the river, we're going to go through the forest, which should be pretty straightforward. We will bend off at the water side and cross the land towards a village. And yeah, we'll just keep going for a while like this, just putting track down. Let me get all of it in place and I'll get back to you. I've reached the end of the track and we're going to go back on the hand cart. That way we can start working on the other side. You know, the one that returns the train to the island that we're on. I've done most of the track, but right here at the end we're basically floating, so we'll bring in some dirt and connect it down to the ground. Afterwards we can start out by prepping this area for some farms. We'll take down this hill for a good part and create a bit of a wall. The drill is going to be pretty handy for that. Then we can connect up some of these high spots on the ground to lift it up a couple of blocks. Since we're working on a wood farm and we will probably do more plant related stuff in the area as well, we will need a source of fresh water. We can bring up this little pond that we have on site and just have it trickle down into the river. Let me put in some finishing touches, some cleaning and getting rid of some stones and stuff, and then we'll get started on the farms. Now, for the log farms, we'll start out with the basic trees, which basically means one block is touching the ground. Trees like oak, birch, cherry fall all in this category, and it's a pretty simple design. It's basically a long carriage armed with deployers to replant the sapling and mechanical saws to get rid of the grown trees. Once it passes by the drop-off point, it'll load everything into a set of drawers. To power this ordeal, we're going to use the usual setup. We'll put in some water wheels underground with a speed control and hook them up to the gantry. And that's it. Now for the other leftover trees. For mangrove, the principle of the farm is the same. The only difference is where to plant the sapling. You want them spaced out to avoid roots from building up. Having dirt blocks in an alternating pattern surrounded with some stone will make sure that the deployers only plant on the dirt. For dark oak, we need to figure out how to cut all the logs at the bottom at once. We can set up the saws and deployers up like this, and we will supply the deployers with dark oak saplings from the drawer system. When we add power to this, it should work technically. Okay, it's been a while and it doesn't seem to work. I think it might be because the tree doesn't have enough space to grow, so we'll fix that. And the mangrove is getting stuck as well, but that can be fixed with more saws. So let's get to it. I flipped everything around on the dark oak farm and it still doesn't work. It has to do with not having enough space to grow. But I'm going to do some other things first, and I might come back to this later when I have a good idea. We're back at the Create warehouse to set up a little contraption that will help us clean up these tracks a little more. We'll run a set of drills with rollers behind it to pave the ground under the tracks. This will be pretty easy and simple, and I've done it before, so I'm going to show you some highlights if there are any. Alright, now it's basically time to set up the train signals to avoid, well, trains crashing into each other. We are basically going to section off every junction we have. We'll add more on the longer sections, but that's probably going to be a gradual thing. For the first train of the season, we'll go with a pretty basic design. We'll use some tanks as a boiler and a cool, nice red metallic coat on the cabin, and then some bits and bobs on the outside to spice it up a bit. We'll glue it all together and then try gluing the last pieces that we missed before together as well. And now we can drive it out to the platform so that we can build a carriage in the correct spot and it lines up nicely. I'm going to ride this all the way to the other side of the track so I can get a station in and a schedule going. Then all we have to do is add a driver, and here he goes, off to a life of circles. Next, I'll start by adding a retaining wall on the floating ground next to the Create warehouse, and a little bridge to support the track over the river, but I think I'll just hop on a live stream and finish off the tracks over there. So I'll be right back. Okay, I have done some more cleaning up, but it's mostly just decorative stuff. It's just adding walls where it's needed. And while working on it, I got an idea for the dark oak farm. So let's start by rebuilding it so it doesn't house one tree, but 5. If we work with 2 carriages that move in and out and put a timer on it so the tree has time to grow, the carriages will take care of both the harvesting and the planting. And I'm just going to hope that this design will work. The building for the log farm area needs to have 2 things. 1, enough space to house all of the storage stuff and a little bit more. And secondly, it needs a way to get a train through to pick up any logs that we need for future farms. I'm going to use some acacia logs for the walls and bring up the train passage first. The main building is going to be a little lower, but the top floor is going to be open because I want to bring in a little cart track for fun. The roofs are going to be made out of oak, but it's going to be textured to look like straw, so it's a nice thatched roof. And I think that's going to be most of the building. I need to add in some more details and stuff, and I'll do that quickly off camera and bring you back in. And that's it. Jack's Lumber is now open for business, and I'm going to end the episode right here. If you liked what we did, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!